passion, I think it's at the core of everything you do in life. So I had that fire. I was doubting myself a lot. But at some point, you just figure out that it's okay to make mistakes.
A lot of our decisions will be data-driven, customer-driven decisions really will have a big impact. And often that's one part that's left a little bit more aside.
Sometimes you're not motivated, but the only thing that will keep you going is your passion.
Welcome to this episode of Woman Powering E-Commerce. Join me every Tuesday and Thursday as I take you behind the scenes of my journey as a female e-commerce entrepreneur. Together, we'll explore the highs, the lows, inspiring you to take action and achieve your own business goals. So let's get started. So for today's episode, we have a guest. I'm super excited. Her name is Ines Kouame. She's an e-commerce project manager at Novatize, so a great e-commerce agency. Make sure to check them out. So Ines embarked in her e-commerce journey about 5 years ago. And that was actually by creating her own online business. So she went all in, which I love. And at that time, she discovered a passion for marketing, branding, technology. And after reaching a certain threshold, she decided to immerse herself even more in the industry, which led her to Novatize. And over time, she developed her skills in email marketing, marketplaces, and social media strategies. And what I like about her is that she's also very passionate about empowering women. So we're super excited to talk to her about that. And also I learned that outside of work, she likes everything that's beauty and fashion, extreme hiking, not only hiking, extreme hiking. Mm-hmm. And she has a love for gastronomy. So welcome, Ines. Super happy to have you on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
So yeah, I'm super excited. And so I did my best to introduce you myself, but nothing compares to you sharing your own personal stories. So could you maybe tell us a little bit about your background with Novatize, maybe a little bit more in detail, what brought you to it, maybe walk us through that a bit?
Yeah, you did great, by the way. That was
Thanks.
Complete because it's hard to condense everything. But yeah, as you mentioned, I started in e-commerce about 5 years ago by starting my own online boutique. And I don't know if you ever saw those Shopify ads. The one that says that you can start your own business in 7 days. So yeah, I fell for it. And unfortunately, after 7 days, when the free trial ended, I was like, okay, this is not going to take me 7 days. I'm far from being done. So it took me about a year, and it was during COVID. So I immersed myself in it, and I read everything you could find online. I saw all of the masterclasses, all the tutorials, everything you can think of. But at some point, I was just I felt stuck. I was like, I don't have all the tools. Obviously, some people are doing great online, and I'm not selling. I have the products, the branding is good, everything looks good, and I'm passionate about fashion and beauty and everything. So I was like, well, I have a nice website, I have a nice Instagram page, so why is it not selling? So coming from a background where education is very important, my first thought was okay, maybe I need to go back to school and actually learn all about it. But then I was looking at the programs and everything, and I was like, I need hands-on experience. So I started looking for a job online, and I just found this company that when you have this feeling and you just feel like this is where I need to be. And in my mind, it was clear, and I was like, I want to learn from them. I want them to show me everything. And so, yeah, I applied, and I didn't get the job because clearly I didn't have the experience. All I have to show for myself was the website that I had built. And so I kind of harassed the CEO, and I was like, I know I want to work with you guys, and I know I can do great things, and I'm a quick learner, and I'm very motivated and passionate. So that's why when you mentioned earlier, passion, I think it's at the core of everything you do in life. So I had that fire, and they gave me a chance, and I started off as a marketplace specialist. which at the time was it was a new department in the company, so they gave me like all the formation and all the education I could get, and I just felt like a sponge. I was like so happy I could learn everything, and they're really great. I'm surrounded by amazing people. They're really knowledgeable, so that was I'm very lucky, and so for the past few years I learned kind of everything I can put my hands on. I just like dive right into it. And now I'm a project manager, and I get to work with clients in different industries, and I love it. Yeah,
that's amazing. I love it. What I love is that you just decide to go hands-on, because it's true. You can go back to school, you'll learn the theory, but nothing compares to actually just doing the actual work, learning on the spot. And also, I think your perseverance paid off really well. So sometimes I think that's a great lesson for anyone. Sometimes we will get discouraged by our first no, but that's just proof that if you get a no, just keep going. If you feel that you can do it, just knock on doors until you get what you want. And that's what you did. So I think that's a really, really good lesson for everyone. So thank you for that. That's amazing. I love it.
You said about the no. To me, a no is more like my mom used to say that. And like a no is maybe like a not right now, not right here, but it doesn't mean like no forever. So you just have to figure out like why. And when I insisted, they were like, oh, you know what, actually we're opening up a new position, like if you want to learn, since it's not something that anyone knows, like we're just building it, so do you want to be a part of it? And I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I love it. All right. And okay, so I mean, there are some great things about learning hands-on and just learning on the spot. But I'd be interested in knowing during your journey, I'm sure there were some challenges that you faced. So maybe can you give us one challenge to start off with, and maybe tell us how you overcame that challenge?
The one that comes to my mind right now when it comes to my evolution at Novatize as the imposter syndrome. Like when I just felt like, okay, I'm not qualified to do this, but at the same time, I wanted it so bad that I was like, well, you applied to that job and you harassed them, so now you got to do the work. So even if it has to take me like twice the time it would take someone else, I can still do it. And I'm very lucky in a way, because my parents always taught me that in my mind, it's like ingrained in my mind that you can do anything you put your mind to it. And it's not like, I know it sounds very cheesy, but I really believe it. I mean, I always said, if I wanted to be a doctor, I could be a doctor right now. Like that sounds like very like, but I think that was like a challenge, because I was doubting myself a lot. But at some point, you just like figure out that it's okay to make mistakes. And that was something that was a challenge for me also, because as I said, I come from a very academic background, and I used to be like great at school, good at sports, good at everything. So when you face failure for the first time, or you just feel like you could have done better, or it was not enough, it's very difficult. In your mind, you're like, oh, maybe I'm not made for that, or that was a challenge, to just accept that you're not gonna hit it out of the park every time. And as with my business, when I started my business, I didn't think it would be easy. But when I noticed that I wasn't making any sales, I was like, did I just do all of that for nothing? And so to pick yourself back up, it's very hard to do, but you need to take the time to just accept that maybe, you faced a failure, but it's to succeed in the future. So you're going to learn something from it, and you just need to grow from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think doubt is, sometimes we feel that it's not normal, but it definitely is, especially when you're starting something new. And the fact that you didn't have the academics probably just kind of encouraged even more that doubt. But the fact that you weren't faced to failure in that sort of a way beforehand was probably very difficult. I can definitely sense that. And I think what you realize from what I'm understanding is that you eventually kind of switch from failure being a negative thing to it being a very positive thing, because failure is it's not a bad thing. At school, you learn that when you fail, it's bad. But in real life, is it that? No, not at all. It's actually very good, because those are the times that you'll learn the most. So I think you probably, it feels like you kind of switched that part of your mindset, and that helped you go on a little bit more.
And you also realize that sometimes you're way harder towards yourself than other people are. So it's okay to make mistakes, and I mean, don't do it on purpose, obviously, but it's a mistake because, you learn from it, and people are very, they understand, because everyone makes mistakes. As long as you admit it and you take the steps to make yourself better and grow from it, I think it's like completely normal.
Absolutely. Makes sense. Yeah. All right. And do you have maybe another challenge that you faced and that you overcame?
When I was starting starting my company in itself was kind of a challenge, because I was at a point in my life where, I studied in labor law and human resources. So that has nothing to do with like e-commerce or marketing. When I started working, I wasn't happy. I didn't like what I was doing. So I kind of just went back to my student job, which was bartending at the time. So I was making good money, but it wasn't fulfilling to me. So I always felt like there was something more. So what am I doing with my life? Why am I doing this? I don't want to just work to make money, to pay bills, to work. I mean, this is like a never-ending cycle, and I wasn't passionate about it. So just figuring out my why. So what am I doing? Why am I doing it? That was a challenge, because you really need to take some time and look inwards, like really pause for a second and ask yourself, like, okay, stop. And I was lucky. I mean, I know like a lot of people suffered from COVID, and it was not a good thing. But to me personally, it really helped me, because it gave me the time that I needed to really reset and take the time to think about what I wanted to do. And this, just figuring out your why. I think you need to have a purpose in your life. Everything that you do needs to be driven by a reason, because otherwise you just walk the earth like without reason. So that was a challenge, because when you study something and then you find out that it's not really what you expected, and then you fall back on a job just to make money, you kind of feel like a failure. So that's like maybe a recurring theme in my life. I'm really adverse to failure. I don't like to fail. That was very challenging, to just realize that I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm doing it, and I don't know what I'm going to do in the future. So that was like very difficult time, and especially during the confinement. I mean, we were alone, so you're kind of alone with yourself. So that was very challenging. But at some point, I was just like, okay, let's just do a list, like just write it down. Like, what would your dream life look like? And then I was like, you know what? I always loved marketing. When I was younger, I used to watch ads for fun. Like, I know it sounds like really weird, but I used to love it. I always loved the psychology behind it. And funny story, one of the cosmetic brands that I used to love when I was younger was one of the first mandates that I had to do when I started working at Novatai. So that was just kind of like destiny fulfilled for me. That was challenging to figure out, but I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. Like, why should I stop myself from doing it? Because I just feel like I don't have the educational background. I was like, okay, let's just do it. And there was nothing else to do during COVID. So I was like, why not? Let me try and build a website. But just, being honest with yourself and having a clear vision is challenging sometimes, because you have to ask yourself the right questions. And that's difficult. But once you do it, you kind of see like the light at the end of the tunnel. And then everything is clear, and you can take actionable steps towards your dream life. So that's kind of part of the process, but it's not easy.
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely. Those are really, really good points. Finding your why. I think finding time to self-reflect during COVID. So you made the best of that time, which is great. A lot of people did not. So really, really happy you did that. And asking yourself the right questions, because a lot of the times we don't have the right solutions just because we don't take the time to, one, ask ourselves questions, and to ask ourselves the right questions. So asking yourself, or actually just not hesitating and really dare to ask, what's my dream life? It's a scary question because you're confronted with, it might not be at all what I'm doing right now. I may be going in the opposite direction completely. And will I be honest enough with myself to go and do 180 degrees and go into the other direction? And I love it because that's what you did. And was asking yourself that one question alone, what would be my dream life? Is that the only question you asked yourself? Did you have to ask yourself other things or anything else in the process to lead you in the right direction?
I mean, I knew that I had to ask myself what I wanted to do with my life and what was my dream life like, but also how can I contribute to others? I think it's really important if you want to feel fulfilled, you can't live just for yourself. So I needed to see how what I wanted to do with my life would impact positively the life of others. Otherwise, it's just like, okay, I want to be, if I was just like, okay, I want to be a millionaire, that's like, how is that gonna live like a legacy? Or like, would you be proud of your life? And COVID was so scary, so you were thinking like, okay, what if like it's the end of the world? What can I say that I've done with my life? Like all of those kind of questions like were coming up. So other than what is my why, what would it like produce, like what can it do in other people's life? That was like the other question that I asked myself. And it was important to me that it made an impact in some way. So that's why when I created my company, my website, I wanted to incorporate in it like a sense of community and really like share blog articles. And it wasn't only for this SEO. And then I learned that it was good for SEO. So I was like, okay, perfect. But I really wanted to be meaningful also for women, especially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. I love it because it's not yes, it's important to make sure we feel fulfilled and take care of ourselves, but taking care of others will just bring that fulfillment at a like whole other level.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We need that as a human being. We need to contribute. So, but not everyone understands or realizes that. So glad you noticed that.
Yeah, I think once you become aware of that, you're like, okay, yeah, it's like the gift of giving something. It really makes you fulfill more than just living for yourself. Like, yeah,
absolutely. So, Ines, you're definitely a very passionate individual. So, I'd like to know, how has your passion been a driving force for growth in your e-commerce journey, and maybe even on a personal level, if you want to share?
I think yes, I'm very passionate. When I decide something, I just like go for it full force. And sometimes you're not motivated, but the only thing that will keep you going is your passion. Because you're doing something that when you say like, when you know it impacts people, you're not only doing it for yourself, so that drives you also. But the passion, especially in e-commerce, it's so, you need to be adaptable, like it changes so fast. So if you don't have like passion at your core, you can get lost in all the noise and all the new flashy things. So you really need to stay grounded. And I think passion is what really drives you. And also it helps you when you make decisions, because sometimes you can have like, I don't know, you need to have your values. And like when you're passionate about something, you really make sure that it reflects who you are, because it's a reflection of yourself. Mm-hmm. And the life that you want to say that you lived at the end of the day. So I think that's how passion impacts. And also it ensures that you stay happy, because if you want to build like a career, I didn't want to just like start an online store and then when COVID was ending, just go back to my normal life. I wanted it to become my reality. So I really needed to be passionate about it. And also it's okay to not have like sometimes people are like, I'm not passionate about anything. That's not true. I think we're all are passionate about some things. You just have to try some stuff also. Like you shouldn't be afraid to try multiple things. As you mentioned in the introduction, I did some email marketing, I did some social media strategy, I did like everything, and you have to try it out. And you don't have to be like, don't be scared. Like, just try it. If you don't like it, it's okay. But you still have it in your toolbox. Like, you still know how to do it. So I think not being afraid of trying out, you can fail, it's going to be okay, but just as long as you're passionate about it, people around you also will know that you did it, like it came from a good place, even if it wasn't perfect or anything, because you're passionate. And it also helps you stay up to date, because if you're passionate about something, you always want to learn everything you can. You talk with people that are passionate about the same thing. So that's the way you grow. You build like a circle around you that are passionate about the same thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's great. And I find that a lot of the time when we speak about business growth, we'll automatically think about metrics or strategies. But with what you're saying, do you feel that what's more important, your passion, or is it just to grow a business, or both definitely the best combination? How would you put that?
I think they come hand in hand. It's like you can't really separate them, because if you're not passionate about something, someone else is gonna be more passionate about it and do it better than you. And when you're passionate about something, especially if, because we work with clients that sell products, so we're not into the services industry, but when you want to sell something to someone and then you're going to see the metrics and everything, you need to understand them, what drives them. It's not about you. Yeah. So to understand them, you need to be passionate about them. So I think it's all like interconnected. And if you know how to share your message, and to share a message, you have to have a message that is passionate. We need to feel like a connection to you. And so, I think when you're passionate about something, you can really communicate in a way that people feel connected to you. And then that's how you build a customer base. Like, and then you see the metrics, and then you see like everything that comes around it. But you cannot only focus on metrics, and then, because there's humans behind those numbers. Yeah. So you need to understand the human mind, how it works and why. So that's why I think being passionate in the way you communicate your message is very, very important. Yeah. Because you put yourself in the customer's shoes. You understand what's in it for them. Because otherwise you can make a one-time purchase and then they're not going to buy from you again. They're going to buy from the next person that's more passionate, that give more, because when you're passionate, you want to give value to your customers. That's great. And actually last week when I was in Arizona for a training, there was this conference about we often will take data. A lot of our decisions will be data driven, because that's like the safe way to do it. And it's super important. But they were explaining how much customer driven decisions really will have a big impact. And often that's one part that's left a little bit more aside. But it's just as important. And what you're saying just really confirms that. And I couldn't agree more. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And you just made me think about, like, when you think about the long term, if you want to have like a long time running business, you need to think about that also, because it's not only the data. You need to retain those customers. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It makes sense for the long run. That will definitely keep you going. Great. So it's been about 5 years that you've been in e-commerce. I'm sure you came across a lot of resources or people maybe that have helped you grow or learn new things. So would you be willing maybe to share one resource, such as a book or a person that has helped you directly, indirectly, that has had a significant impact on your journey?
Yeah, I remember, because as I told you, I read a lot of books when I was starting my business. I wanted to understand everything about it. And I think the one that helped me the most was Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. I love that book. I think I still have it like on my side. I think it in all strategies always start from this standpoint. Like, what's my story right here, and how do the customers going to connect with that story, and then you build your strategy around it. Because as I said, like you really need to start. The starting point is the customer, the starting and the ending point. You're doing it for them ultimately. So that really helped me. I suggest it to everyone. It's great. And the other person that I really liked, and I think I like him because I feel that he's passionate about what he's doing, and I think it's an inspiration for me. Is more like a social media personality nowadays, but I love what he's doing. Suzie.
Oh, I don't know about that person.
He's like it's kind of like a marketing guru, and it's what he teaches can really be applied to like multiple industries. So like just check him out. I feel like the way he engages with his audience is just amazing. I admire him for that. His email strategy is like off the chart. So I'm just like, it's really, I really like enjoying watching his content and everything.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for that resource. I'll definitely check him out. And for the book that you recommended, definitely a really good book. If you're starting in e-commerce for a long time and haven't read that book, it's definitely a must read. And thank you very much for those resources.
You're welcome.
And maybe before we end the episode, Ines, where could people go and find you online?
You can find me on LinkedIn.
Wonderful. And of course, she works at Novatize, so you can always check her out. She's on the website. You will see her beautiful face there. And that's it. Thank you so much, Ines, for taking some time today. It was amazing. Love your passion. Definitely one of your top qualities. And have a great day, and see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for being part of this journey with me. I hope you gained valuable insights and inspiration today to keep growing and taking action towards your goals. Please follow me on social media and remember to like, share, and comment this video. Subscribe to get notifications every time a new video is uploaded. See you next time.